I'd like to do a shorter one. So since 12 years ago, when I started having housing issues, it actually started in 2009, but losing my apartment that I had for 8 years, and couch surfing, and then being on the street and being in shelters and being in dangerous, unhealthy places where I've gotten threatened, threatened physical harm. That started about 12 years ago, and people have asked me, like, why don't I go back to Japan? So I'm a person of color and Japanese descent. I'm born here in Brooklyn, New York, and I I did try. First of all, I did try to get my parents sent back. The abuse was so bad, the sexual, mental, and physical abuse. You can hear that in my previous videos, uploads. Right? The videos are slideshows. I don't show my face. Um, they used to say they're gonna go out to lunch with their friends for 1 or 2 hours, and they don't come back for 8 hours. And usually, I get beaten up if I ate anything without their permission. So I couldn't just go in a refrigerator and make a cheese sandwich. I could get beaten up, or I can be landed. So I guess they're narcissists, right? Only their reality is reality, and it changes according to what they feel. So I used to call immigration. It was in the white pages back in the 70s and 80s. There were white pages which listed all these numbers, private numbers, and organizations like immigration. And I tell them, I get beaten up every day. I usually have not blood coming out of my mouth, but blood will come out of my mouth. But I usually had a fat lip. I had bruises, and they would say I must have been bad and hang up on me, or they'd hang up on me. I also couldn't get dual citizenship. They told me when I was 18, I was still talking to them, but I was on my own since I was 16, that they tried and tried to get my Japanese ID papers, but the embassy won't hand them over. I now realize that they're lying. When I was 14, going on 15, and I was hospitalized in a psychiatric ward, the guidance counselor in my school thought I had depression from stress of studies. I went to a math and sciences high school. I went to Stuyvesant High School in Manhattan, New York. Um, so I was actually losing my sense of reality because the beatings started like 8 years prior. Yes, when it was in 1977, and this is 1985. I was hospitalized. So I guess I was told that I was beating my head against lockers and was making very disturbing drawings. I don't remember, but guidance counselor Slur walked me over to Beth Israel Hospital across the street. And that day I had to be hospitalized. I didn't have anything except for my books for school. They gave me a gown, and then I wore gowns for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. There are observation periods of 21 days and 28 days. It might have been 28 back then, but anyways, that brought shame to my powerful parents' family, and they blamed it on something wrong with me. Um, I don't think the situation was genetic. I think that it was too many years of not having any refuge, not having any sanctuary, violence every day. Um, when there wasn't physical violence, it was when they were sexually abusing me and sending me to men. I couldn't be bruised when they were selling me. So I was told that once I got into Stuyvesant High School, I passed the test. I don't know how I passed the test. Actually, I missed it by one point. I went to summer school, but things will get better. They'll know that I'll be on my way to not having a horrible life. Didn't get better, it got worse. I wasn't allowed to have lunch, and they refused to let me get school lunch. They said that they made too much of an income. They might have, it, when you think about how they were supported by their parents. Um, but they said that they make too much money for school lunch. So I learned to. I learned to steal when I was a small girl too. But I was older and I couldn't just go to the corner bodega from around the corner where I lived, and the old couple will turn away. No, seeing the way I dressed and seeing that they don't never saw me playing with other kids on the street. So I had to get sneakier, and then I made friends, and they shared food, or we stole together. But that that gave my parents um, a, a way to cut me off from the whole family, because yeah, people in my parents' economic bracket didn't have crazy people, crazy children. So that's why I can't go to Japan. Um, they also ask, why can't I live with my parents? See the above. If somebody pimped you, would you want to go back to them? Dr. Young at Maimonides, told me that I should apologize to my family and live with them. This is in 2014 when supportive housing, I was being poisoned and I was being abused. Um, and when I told her I'm not going to go beg my parents for forgiveness for what? For being born? But she told me to live on the streets. This doctor told me to live on the streets because she didn't want to correct the papers for my psychosocial to change supportive housing. She dated the papers 4 years prior, and when I told her that, she said she's not going to lie to help me get housing. So I can't live with my parents. They won't let me, I think, unless like I became their slave. I'm too old to sell for sex. Um, and why can't I go back to Japan? They couldn't get the papers from the embassy. So at 18, I couldn't get dual citizenship. I'm a United States citizen. I thought it's going to be short, but it's almost 9 minutes. Thank you for listening, as always. Um, please subscribe. Please distribute this or forward this to anybody who's homeless, disabled, in pain, a person of color, or any doctors, social workers, teachers, guidance counselors, therapists who might learn from this and maybe help change the world. Thank you.